And on to the news. Welcome back, everybody. First up, we're going to talk about Jeremy Renner. For those who don't know or didn't see last week's episode or haven't seen it in other news outlets, actor Jeremy Renner recently had a terrible accident. He was in a snowplow trying to help a family member who was stuck in the snow, and he used this to tow his family member's vehicle out to a point where they were no longer stuck and they were safe. And it was at this point, while he was outside of the snowplow and trying to speak with that family member, that the snowplow started to roll. So he had attempted to run to it to get back inside the driver's seat to stop it. And it was at this point that it ran him over. We are talking 14,000 pounds. Did severe damage to his leg and his chest, and he was badly bruised and scraped. And he was then flown to a hospital where he was found to be in stable but critical condition. Well, we are very, very, very glad to report that he is back home now. He is doing much better. He's been home for about 2 days. And while we don't know the extent of his injuries or if there's going to be any further surgeries on his leg or anything else, we are super glad to hear that he's able to go home from the hospital. It's fantastic news. Now, on a lighter note, his new hit show, Mayor of Kingstown, their promotional materials had these images of him that were eerily similar to how he looked when he was in the hospital, specifically regarding the injuries to his face. So the scrapes and the blood and the cuts that are shown on the posters advertising Mayor of Kingstown were found to be a little too close to the truth when it came to the actual injuries that Jeremy Renner had sustained. This caused the marketing team to rush to redo these posters in a quick Photoshop job to lessen the injuries so that it wasn't so reminiscent of a real-life accident. In other news, we got our first look at MODOK in the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer. Take a look at this. Look at that sexy beast. That's right. Mental organism designed only for killing it. That was a choice. Quite a look. Obviously, there is another shot where it would appear that MODOK has maybe some sort of helmet that is closed. Maybe it's Yellow Jacket's helmet, maybe it's revised. And hopefully he doesn't always look this hot. Because otherwise, I mean, lock up your blenders, folks. Cullen Bunn's hot new horror series, Nightwalkers, is hitting stores next week. On Wednesday, you will be able to go to any comic book shop, ask for Nightwalkers #1. If they don't have it on the shelf, ask them to get it in for you. And based on the numbers, which I've seen, and based on the late orders that I'm also seeing, meaning that there is a cutoff date for shops to be able to order to get this in, right? When that cutoff date happened, a huge percentage of those orders were in that last 24 hours, and then all of a sudden, in the following 24 hours, retailers flooded, trying to jump on board late, which means it is possible that the first printing of issue 1 may end up being a little bit harder to find than initially expected. So act fast. Don't sleep on this. Get out there, grab issue 1 right away before somebody else does. This is in collaboration with Hustle and Heart Films and the producer from Dr. Sleep and It. This may just end up being the next hit horror film. So get on board now. Go grab the comic next week. You can't go wrong with Cullen Bunn, right? There is a brand new comic book film on the horizon. And no, it is not a superhero movie. No, It is not a horror film, it's a Western. And it's going to be one of the most brutal, incredible rides you have ever seen from a comic book film. Dead Man's Hand has been acquired for North American rights by Lionsgate Entertainment. This is based on the comic book miniseries No Rest for the Wicked, Dead Man's Hand, published by Source Press and created by the Minor Brothers. I definitely highly recommend everybody jump on Amazon, grab a copy of the collected edition in advance so that you can read up before the movie comes out. Now, we don't have a release date, but we are likely going to be seeing this hitting theaters probably this summer. This is coming from Lionsgate and Skiba Vision, directed by Brian Skiba, the director of Rotten Tail, another Source Press movie. This movie stars Jack Kilmer as Reno, and it also has Cole Hauser, which you might know from Yellowstone, and Stephen Dorff and Corin Nemec. It is an all-star, incredible cast. It's going to be awesome. I don't want to reveal anything more than that just yet. So, dropping that news here, and we will come back in a future episode to dive more in depth on that. And lastly, Mountain Dew Baja Blast is now making a hot sauce. That's right, Baja Blast flavored hot sauce. Why? Because we entered 2023 with no more fucks to give. That's the news, everybody. Thanks so much. On to our travel segment, and then we're going to sit down with our guests, Martha Webby and Garrett Gunn. See you right back here on the Source Press channel.